sure. What and who thinks of these things is what I would like to know. Hello, hello, hello.
I keep thinking about Edward R. Murrow's Person to Person when they had like 10 tons of cables for every television camera as they invaded people's homes and apartments.
Yeah.
And then the subject of the interview,
Okay, honey.
would act surprised or mildly surprised that Edward R. Murrow was there talking to him
You go.
on the TV screen.
You're welcome.
Oh, hello, Ed.
Oh, hello, Ed. Oh, hello. Oh, nearly, almost made it. My husband is out of town, which means Daisy is here. She's supposed to go up to Grandma, but she doesn't want to. So she's sitting over there. So apologies ahead of time for that. Also, I also apologize. My face is flared. It's easier to see it on the Instagram one than it is on this. I'm bright red. I'm okay. It's just one of my many fun lupus body tricks. So hooray for that. How is everybody? Always nice to be back with you. Greetings from Kansas City. Hello, Quentin Decker. Sorry. Thank you very much. Hello from Philo, Illinois. Hello. We're here. We did it. It's another Sunday.
It's another Sunday.
Now, yesterday was a bit of a big deal in our home. And that is because it was, first of all, for a lot of people, it was 5 years since COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly 5 years. So
and that was on a Saturday night, too.
It was. We were at a restaurant in Beverly Hills 5 years ago that shut down that night and never reopened.
It's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, which is a chain.
Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And it was a bit of an odd night, but we thought, no, we want to be here. We want to be with everybody and be with our friends. And we weren't sure what was going to happen next and all of that. And at the end of our meal, the waiter came over and said, well, you guys are going to be the last folks to dine with us tonight. The government has just sent out notification that everybody has to close their restaurants this evening. So we went home, as everyone else did.
Dreaming that we would go home and stay home.
We would go home and stay home. And that particular location of the restaurant would never open again. So it's a not what I would call a ha-ha funny memory, but a bit of a funny memory to get to keep with this. But so yesterday was my parents' 50th, their 50th anniversary of marriage. And, you know, that's a while in the event that you were not aware. That is a long time.
A first marriage for each of us, I hasten to add.
Yes, you do hasten. You do hasten. It seems kind of unreal. How do you feel?
Well, we've been talking the last couple of days.
Yeah.
We remember the night before and the night of the wedding.
Yep.
Vividly. I mean, the memories are very tangible.
Yeah.
And it snowed the Friday. And by the way, this is, again, last night was Saturday, March 15th.
Yeah.
And we did not beware the Ides of March. We flew in the face of that. And
wild ones that you are, yes.
In Harrison, New York, which is a nice suburb in Westchester. But on Friday it snowed. We had a bit of a blizzard. It's like, oh, everybody's got to get up, get themselves up to Westchester.
Yeah.
And we were concerned about some of our relatives and such. And then Friday morning we woke up, looked out the window, and the sun was shining. It was a sign.
'Twas a sign, and they got married.
Yep.
March 15th. Yeah, March 15th, 1975.
We up and married.
Mm-hmm. So yesterday we went out with a couple of friends to celebrate. Daisy. And it was lovely. It was nice to be with everyone. Nice. And I can't, 50, man, right? Yeah, Jess says, congratulations on 50 years of marriage. That's a long sentence. That's what my husband says. It is crazy because as you've hit each year, as you hit each year, each time we sort of go, wow, that's a long time. And then it says it again. Daisy, love of my life. Love of my life. If you want to sing, baby, can you go back up to grandma? No, you're just going to sit there and eat ice cream and sing. Yep. That's why they call them three-nagers. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, the thing is,
I never heard that term before.
Oh, three-nager?
Yeah.
I've said it to you a bunch, but that's how much it's registering.
Yeah.
Three-nagers. Your parents, I was at your parents' 50th, my dad's parents. My mom's dad passed away, which is why they were no longer married. But they must have been married, even at that point, what, 30, 40? No, probably 40, something like that.
They were married in 1949.
Yeah. It's a long time
Yeah.
they were married. So it's sort of a thing. Yes, yeah, giving the mom look. I know. Well, it's me looking over at my daughter who is sitting in just a diaper eating ice cream, now requesting Bluey. You can watch Bluey with grandma upstairs, is how that can happen. Yeah, take the ice cream. Take the ice cream with you. It's slow, but it's happening. Anyway, it's so yeah, I remember your parents' anniversary really well. Do you know why? Do you remember why I remember your parents' anniversary so well?
Puck?
No, it was
we held a dinner party for them at Spago,
yeah,
in Beverly Hills, and Wolfgang Puck made an appearance.
Yeah.
Later in the evening, and was very gracious.
My first time seeing snow must have been maybe their 45th or something like that.
They were married on Christmas Eve.
They were married Christmas Eve,
time.
And we were back in New York or New Jersey, I should say. And we came out of the restaurant really late, which was a big deal. Me and my cousins got to stay up, and Aviva and I were still awake, but her younger sister, my younger cousin, was asleep. But we went outside and it had just started snowing. And that's a pretty magical way to remember your first snow. And I was really young, and yeah, very special. But yeah, so long-running marriages are a thing in our family. Thank you, bub. Do you want to take the lid? Do you want to take the lid of your ice cream upstairs? No? Cool. Go upstairs. I love you. So that was always really special, though. They'd been together for such a long time. It just sort of was. And my mom's parents, as I say, her dad passed away long before I was born.
Yeah.
But, that was, Judy and Ben, they just loved each other.
Yeah.
They adored each other.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky because I had that in my life growing up. And then my parents were just the ones that were married forever. And also my parents are very affectionate with each other. You're still very lovey, snuggly together. So we
like holding hands at movies.
Yeah. Which that was probably one of my favorite moments, was the first time that we all went to see a movie together, me with my husband and my parents, and we were all holding hands. Not all of us together, but you know what it was? And it was for Swiss Army Man.
Huh.
We were at the ArcLight seeing Swiss Army Man, and I looked over and Scott was holding my hand and you and Mommy were holding hands, and I thought, this is pretty good. This is if this is the rest, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, oh man, it's wild. Daisy now basically understands your instructions. She always understands them. It's just the following of the instructions that's iffy.
Yeah.
She just wants to be wherever Grandpa is. So if Grandpa goes downstairs, Daisy goes downstairs. So trying to tell her that she has to leave Grandpa is not exactly welcome. So yeah, but by magic, I can hear her up with Grandma now.
Yeah, I can too.
Jonathan says, hey there, Leonard Maltin. This is Jonathan, the voice man Martinez from Robstown, Texas. How are you, Leonard?
Well, I'm feeling pretty good today. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lovely meal last night.
Yes.
With good friends. And looking forward to the next 50 years.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can only imagine. I hope this means Jessie is no longer mistaken for being Mr. Malton's wife. Oh, no, that still happens. That still happens. It's still weird as hell, and it happens. I don't know if it would happen if we didn't live in LA. Like, I don't know if LA is part of that. But it's weird no matter what you do. We've just come to accept it and pretend it isn't real. I think that is the healthiest way to approach that. You have been watching a lot of movies. Why?
There's a reason.
There's two. He has this new podcast that he's spoken about a little bit that he's doing with a fella in Australia called the Movie Guide Podcast. And so each week they're discussing a film
From the 70s, 80s, 90s, aughts.
that they're rewatching. So you've been watching stuff for that. My dad does best with deadlines. You are, I would say, a deadline man. You do really well if you have assignments and deadlines. I think it brings something out of you. I think.
Okay.
You don't notice it?
Well, yeah. No, I do work best
Yeah.
when I'm not under pressure necessarily.
No, but you have to get it done.
You have to get it done.
Yeah.
No fooling. No sitting. No wool gathering. Just
Hey,
do it.
no wool gathering, all right, guys? If you were thinking about wool gathering, who says that?
I just did.
Who wool gathers? So that has been a piece of it. And then the other aspect is we are working on a book that they have now technically announced. I still don't know. I don't believe anything until it exists, is my feeling. But in theory, let's say we are working on a book together with TCM
For Running
Press and
which is their book,
Hachette.
which is their book partner.
Yep.
There's a whole line of TCM books.
Yeah.
And they're all very handsome, nicely packaged.
Yeah. So
And
fingers crossed.
the writing is pretty good too.
Yeah, right. Also books. So we're working on this, and it involves choosing 25 movies that we suggest you should watch
with your family.
With your family. Now, they were quite clear with us. They did not want it to be just for young, as in we don't want it to be, hey, we're showing our 10-year-old something. They wanted it to be sort of like a family. So you could have teenagers, whatever. So we sort of have a wide range there. And then we give you something to make, cook, bake, whatever, to accompany the
either
film.
a snack or a meal.
Yeah.
That has some thematic connection. To the movie.
Yes. So that has been what we've been working on. And so that also means that my dad has been rewatching all these films so that we can talk about
all the stuff I do, the half-hour movie guide chat, which extends to about 40 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I've got to see the movie fresh.
Mm.
I cannot do it relying on my memory.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can.
I really have to have a new look and take notes.
Yeah.
Take notes while I'm watching. And that's how it turns out best.
Yeah. And it's, I think, to me at least, I think that it's the kind of thing where, because we are trying to be detailed, I think that it helps to sort of have it be as fresh as possible so that we can kind of convey what we want. Hi, Dane. Dane, I'm so jealous of the I'm going to call it the Forge and Fire thing you went to with Becca. My friend Dane and his lovely wife, Becca, live sort of near San Luis Obispo, which is 2.5-ish, sometimes 3 hours north of us. And it's beautiful. And they're constantly finding little events to go to.
Yeah.
And they just had a forged competition event nearby, and they went, and I'm just terribly jealous of that.
Forged as in blacksmith?
Yes. Blacksmithery.
Mm-hmm.
Blacksmithery. Anyway, very jealous of that. But yeah, it helps. Frank says TCM presents the top 25 movies Alice Maltin won't complain about. Frank, she will always find something to complain about. And don't be silly.
And the bigger answer is don't count on it.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I won't tell you the name of the movie that's going in this book that she requested that I turn off at 30 minutes because she was not being entertained.
Well, now I want to know which movie that was.
I'll tell you later.
Now I want to know which movie that was. Anyway, but again, it sort of means we've been catching up, rewatching a whole bunch of stuff. And it's always going to be interesting to see something. There are some movies that I know backwards and forwards. I've watched them more times than I can think I can quote them entirely. And then there's some that you haven't seen in a long time. I'll give an example. Calamity Jane is one of them. And as a kid, my dad showed me a bunch of those. We mostly watched musicals
Yeah.
as a kid. It was mostly rotation of
Yeah.
Pajama Game.
Starting
and
when you were about about Daisy's age, 3.5.
Yeah. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Calamity Jane, Pajama Game. Good News came later, but that was sort of the rotation.
Yeah.
And then serials. That was the other one. Is my dad showed me a lot of serials, and we loved Captain Marvel and stuff like that. But I have not seen Calamity Jane in a really long time. And my parents just rewatched it. I haven't had a chance to yet. It's just kind of a trip to see what's in there still, like what's still sitting.
What you retain.
And what has just floated away.
Yeah.
So are of them, is there any that you've watched where you forgot more than you thought you did?
No, not so far for the Family Guide.
Yeah.
A family film book. For the Movie Guide podcast,
Yeah.
I revisited The Grifters.
Yeah.
And I found I remembered nothing about it.
Really?
It all came, it might as well have been a new movie.
I
and
remember.
Very good, too.
I remember seeing that movie because Annette Bening and Warren Beatty's kids went to my school.
You see all of Annette in this
And
movie.
yes, well, so I would see Annette at school. She was lovely. She was a real, Warren was sweet, but Annette Bening was like a mom. She came to school in a baseball cap, overalls, and was really there as a parent. She was not anything other than a mom when she was at school. And she was nice to everybody, of course, but like you'd see her, and if you didn't know who she was, you wouldn't know who she was. She was just a parent. But I would see her all the time. And then I remember watching The Grifters, and she's very naked in it.
Yeah. And
I was so embarrassed because I must have been at the time maybe 14 or something. And I was just like, I've seen you naked. I'm not supposed to have seen you naked. And that's all I could think about. And for a long time, it was sort of that weird, like, I shouldn't be able to see you have sex. I shouldn't be able to see, when you're actually with people in real life. It's a very strange thing.
Rosalind Russell defined acting. This is her definition of acting.
Yeah.
Is standing naked on a stage with your back to the audience and then turning slowly toward the audience. That's what acting is.
I'd go with that. I would very much go with that. As I say, it's a weird thing that actors do, in that we see things that you are not supposed to see.
Yeah.
I am not supposed to see you naked. I am not, it gets little quotation-y marks. I'm not supposed to see this. I'm not supposed to know how you brush your teeth. And so I've always thought that has to be the ability to do these things. And then, I mean, it's sort of like when you watch a film, like if you made this movie, whatever, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, I can't quite imagine what it is to look back at yourself and see yourself naked or any of that, and then pretend like it's normal and have a conversation with someone,
Well, I had a not dissimilar experience yesterday.
Yeah.
A friend of mine acquired the papers, all the paperwork related to the Dick Van Dyke Show, old production files and things like that. And he's a bright guy. He knows, he's been an antiques dealer and collector both. He's going through them, and he found a letter that I wrote at age 13 to Carl Reiner in 1964.
Can I read it?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I should.
I
think it's cute. I promise it's not embarrassing. I think it's really impressive.
I think it's embarrassing.
What does the bottom say? Sent some. I didn't even try to look at that yet. It says sent something.
sent autographed photo, something like that.
Yeah. 3964. Do you
Yeah.
have that?
Yeah.
That's a trip. That's a trip. I'm just here. I'll read the first little paragraph.
Okay.
Okay. So the top, it says Leonard Maltin, 77 Grayson Place, which is where my dad grew up, Teaneck, New Jersey, March 3rd, 1964. And it's typed on his typewriter. Dear Mr. Reiner, I am 13 years old, and I have enjoyed you ever since the old Sid Caesar show that I used to watch years ago. Years ago, says a 13-year-old child. I think you are the cleverest man on earth, and I watch Dick Van Dyke all the time. I saw you also in The Thrill of It All. And it goes on, and I won't, because he's embarrassed, I won't share more of it. But it's just what you said to me earlier was it's very strange to
Encounter your younger
encounter
self.
your younger self.
You know, it's a letter that has 50% innocence,
Yeah.
unworldliness, naivete, and 50% chutzpah.
Yeah.
And
I think it's amazing.
yeah.
I love it. I think the whole thing. So he says in it also, do you have a picture of yourself I could have? I would love to own one. It's so genuine. That's why I don't think it comes off as, I just think it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, but I'm saying I want to write an article about him, but I don't know anything about him.
I know, but that's part of it. That's part of it, is that you had, how else could you realize these things? You know, yes, exactly. So see, this is the thing. That is amazing they kept that letter. That's what we were just saying. He had it in his files. Why? This is March 3rd, 1964.
He sent me an autographed photo. He did
Yeah.
not answer my letter,
Yeah.
but he sent me an autographed photo.
But
And I
you
remember
know,
the envelope. I remember the manila envelope that came in because it was their studio and offices on Cahuenga Boulevard.
that's really funny. Which we now live near that. It's pronounced Cahuenga. But there are a lot of names here. Sort of like if in New York and New Jersey, you get a lot of names that are Native American, Kinderkamak, things like that. Well, over here, you get the Spanish names. The people.
Kinderkamak may be Dutch.
No,
Yeah,
I thought,
Old Dutch.
I'd always heard it was Indian.
Yeah?
The Native American. Yeah.
Okay.
Who knows?
I went to the Oritani Theater. That was certainly some chief.
Yeah, yeah.
Some tribe.
Yeah. But here it's Spanish. And so there's a lot of stuff you can't pronounce if you don't know what it's supposed to sound like. Anyway, was it a form letter? No, not at all. It's a real fan letter. Everything he wrote in there is real. And it's just very and specific. But you know,
I learned not to be too disappointed if I didn't get an answer at all, because sometimes I didn't. And I got my addresses out of Current Biography, which is a publication my local library got, which included biographies of people of note. And they always had a mailing address for them. Sometimes that was their lawyer's office or their business office or a studio. In this case, it was the both the studio and office of the Dick Van Dyke Show. That's where I wrote to him.
Man.
And
Evan says, "Oh yeah, I live next to Wackack Creek in Middletown, New Jersey." That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good ones there. No, it's we've shared before, but haven't in a long time, and really should get back out your correspondence and everything you sent, because you kept the majority of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is where I hit my sort of kids these days moment and try really hard not to. What is someone going to look through? Like, so let's say next generation, right? Yeah, Dave. What's up? You want to sit with me?
Yeah.
I need you to put clothes on, because I don't like to have you naked. Can you pick something and put it on? If you are, that's just a cape, bub. That's similar to clothing. You're not wrong, but that's just a cape. If you are not familiar, something that you learn when you have small humans is do not let them appear on the internet unclothed. It's just not a good idea. So I'm very careful to not have Daisy ever photographed or videoed for the public when she is as naked as she is right now. Anyway, I wonder though, because I like to look through my parents' stuff, right? I look through my dad's photos, I look through his correspondence, whatever. It's one of my greatest joys. I still, because I, still grew up with letters and postcards and all the rest of it, I still have a lot of stuff written out. What will Daisy have, if anything? The next generation, once we really move away from most mail, and we're already at a place where we're not really printing photos out.
Right.
So what will we have, physically speaking? What will we have?
Yeah, it's already a relevant question.
Yeah.
And in fact, an urgent question.
Yeah.
I have backup on my photos.
Yeah.
In the cloud.
Yeah.
Wherever the hell that may be. But no, honey.
That's soft.
Yeah, well, this way lies madness. Daisy.
Yeah, that's gentle. That's not a hurting one.
I know.
That's This is what it's become. Is can she break that? I don't think so. Yes, we also have hard drives with pictures on them. We have that too. Again, it's just the idea that, I'm cleaning out one of the closets here and going through and finding letters that I wrote to friends or notes that we gave each other. Again, photos that I printed. I still have some photos from high school that we printed out. And then you can see it dwindle. And I probably have not, with any consistency, printed photos since, it's more than 10 years. It's more than 10. Again, that was one of our great joys, was taking pictures on our trips and adventures in general, then taking them to our local photo shop, which was wonderful. There was a camera store that we went to for years. That was great.
Opened in the 40s and lasted through the 90s.
Yeah. And it was a wonderful store, and they were all really knowledgeable. And part of the joy was taking in your film and then waiting for it to come back and then looking through and seeing what you had. It really was. It was special.
Yeah.
And you didn't know if they were good photos, bad photos, whatever. And then, of course, same thing with having a digital camera. I at least could look through them. Even then, you sort of had them and then you still printed them out. You had them. So yeah, it's strange, because I do think, what will it become if somebody were to give their letters later on, like the archives that you get to go through at whether it's USC or UCLA or any of the various places. Yeah, Studio City Camera, Harrison. That was it, Studio City Camera. What will you give them? Will you give them a hard drive? Will you give them your...
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just a thing that you kind of wonder.
It's already affecting research. About 10 years ago, Mark Harris, a fine journalist and writer who did a great biography of Mike Nichols not long ago, and who wrote the book and the documentary called Five Came Back, about the 5 leading Hollywood directors who participated in special filmmaking during World War II.
Yeah.
Wonderful book, wonderful documentary series. Well, his first book, which I still love, is called Pictures at a Revolution. And it was about the 5 Best Picture nominees for 1968. I think I have the year right. And 4 were kind of new wave or new generation pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie and Clyde,
mm-hmm.
The Graduate, In the Heat of the Night. I'm not going to get all 5. And the 5th one was Dr. Dolittle, which is sort of stuck in the mud of past failures. But he, for the Dr. Dolittle chapter, he was looking at files and emails.
Yeah.
There was a paper trail, but it had all been digitized.
Digitized. It's nuts, isn't it? It's just nuts. Yeah, I mean, it again, you don't want to spend all of your time going, when I was, yeah, but it is a strange thing just to sort of try to understand and think about. There's sort of so much. Ken is asking if we mentioned that it's Jerry Lewis's birthday today. We have not. And he's asking what your favorite and least favorite Jerry Lewis films are.
Oh, well, favorite.
Flubber.
That's not Jerry Lewis.
I know it's not. I'm just.
I think in many ways The Bellboy.
Yeah.
Which was an experimental film, black and white, and pretty much wordless. And I think that's the most ingenious thing he ever did, and I liked it a lot. I don't know. I was watching Artists and Models on TCM a couple of weeks ago, and a razor sharp 4K scan from the VistaVision negative, and it came from another planet. Dean and Jerry, who I love. It's a Frank Tashlin directed film. I don't know what planet it emanated from. It could be called Hollywood 50s.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Arthur is asking, I was about to say, Arthur, do you remember the first time you met him? Yes, my dad, Arthur's asking, did you ever meet Jerry Lewis? And then following that up with, did you feel him to be mean-spirited? So the first bit is, yes, he met Jerry many times. We all got to after a while. And he was always very nice to you. He liked you a lot, and he was always very nice to you. He was nice to us. So I never saw him not be nice, but obviously his reputation, let's say, not the greatest all the time. He had an enormous ego. And I think that probably is what led to him not necessarily being behaved all the time. But there were things that he cared greatly about.
Yeah.
And he was generous with, and people that he cared greatly about and that he was generous with. So I think it's just one of those,
I mean, from all evidence, he was not nature's nobleman when it came to the female species.
I've told you the guys this. He hit on me in front of my dad. I was 16. It was fantastic. I mean, to me, I consider that to be probably one of the greatest moments of my life. But not everybody would feel that way. I did. Not everybody else. When was the first time you met him? Was it when you did the show?
No, he came to Entertainment Tonight to do an interview, and we used to do those in our conference room. We had a potted palm in the corner.
By the potted palm
to dress the scenery.
Yeah.
And I sort of snuck in as they were setting the lights, and and I asked him about working in 3D. Because Dean and Jerry did one film in 3D, Three Ring Circus. And I was working on a book proposal about 3D movies, and I thought I'd get, and he gave me a very good answer about how the lights were so intense, the makeup started to melt after a minute or so. So it was not a comfortable experience making the film, but it was very gracious. I left, and that night I had a delayed reaction. I was in bed and I started shaking. I swear this is true. I started shaking because I grew up thinking the sun rose and set on Jerry Lewis, and I had just met him, and it's like, oh my God, oh my God, and of course I grew up. The first film I saw of his was his first solo film, The Delicate Delinquent. I was either 6 or 7 years old, and so that made a big impression on me. And I was a Jerry follower then. He used to do 2 films a year for Paramount, and
you watched them.
I couldn't wait. And then he started to. Then I became too aware of his real Jerry.
It's hard.
Yeah,
It's really hard.
I remember watching the opening night of his ill-fated Saturday night live 2-hour broadcast from what became the Hollywood Palace in Hollywood, and it laid bare, too many of his ego-related traits, and he's human.
Yeah.
He's human, not an idol or a god.
Well, look, over the last few years, we've all had to figure out what we can and cannot watch and who we can and cannot watch because we found out way too much about everybody. And I think sometimes you can handle it, I think sometimes you go, all right, whatever. And then other times it ruins it. And that's why it has to be a person to person situation.
Right.
Nobody can tell you.
Yeah, I got the wrong 3D title. I knew I was going to
blow
that one. It's Money from Home that was in 3D, not Three Ring Circus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Victoria's saying Chaplin's ego and appetite for underage girls hasn't hurt his legend. It actually has, which is interesting, but only in very recent years. I have found more and more young film students are either not learning about him in the same way that they used to be, or are just very aware of the problems that happened. So, it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, you want to separate the art from the artist. I mean, we talk about this quite a lot.
Yeah.
We really want to. We really, really want to. And sometimes you just can't.
Sometimes you just can't. And again, but that's why yes. Jason is saying everyone definitely had their own threshold with celebrities, but that's it. Matthew's saying that he watched the muscular dystrophy telethon religiously as a teen. Well, that's what I mean. Jerry was devoted to that.
Yeah.
That is one thing that he did that was because he wanted to. And he raised a lot of money and a lot of attention for it.
And, he finally got a Gene Herschel's award from the Academy, got an Oscar for that work, not his film work necessarily. Which is what I think he would have appreciated even more. Yeah. But I'm not going to put thoughts in his head.
No, it's to some degree. I like that in a way people can be as accessible as they are. It's fun. It's nice to think that you can get to someone that you're a fan of and speak to them and all the rest of it. At the same time, I do miss not knowing everything because even when you just had, let's say, People Magazine did not used to be the way it is today. It was not. Now it's essentially a rag mag like the rest of them now.
Yeah, it was more discreet.
Mm-hmm. And so the only sort of like unplanned photos you'd have was occasionally you'd have that Stars Are Just Like Us.
Yeah.
And they'd be pumping gas somewhere.
My favorite thing in their stories now is there are various sources
for
quotes. You can have a representative.
But it's never a rep.
Well, sometimes.
It's never a rep.
Or
it's
a pal.
Close friend, pal, confidant. And the most frustrating part of that is that you have completely ruined journalism. Because the reason that you used to use those terms was because the person could not tell you who they were. Now it's just a free-for-all to say whatever you want. A source tells us that so-and-so is buying a house in wherever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And it's which anti-Semitism, Nick? I just wish people would stop believing that anti-Semitism hooey on some people. Oh, do you mean someone like Walt Disney, like that? I will fight to the death about that because Walt Disney was not an anti-Semite. There are a lot of people that were and that are. He was not one of them. And I say that being surrounded by Disney people all the time and knowing. So, that helps. Yeah, Victoria says sometimes distant relatives looking to make a buck. It's all of that. It's just, again, it's just strange. But this was journalism. It used to be if you couldn't say the name, it was because you couldn't say the name. They needed to be kept as just a source, private, whatever. But now,
Yeah.
as I say, I can tell you something, and that suddenly becomes a source has said whatever. Yeah. Again, we could spend the entire time going, back in the day when you had to, but you can't, which sucks. But
it's I find it fascinating what a tight grip the Hollywood studios had on their actors.
Oh God, yeah, it's wild.
If you listen to the old radio show Lux Radio Theater, hosted by the imposing Cecil B. DeMille, at the end of the hour-long or nearly hour-long play, he would have an informal chat with the stars. It was all scripted. It was all carefully scripted. They were not going to rely on their actors to speak extemporaneously.
That's wild.
And that kind of attitude prevailed for a long, long time.
Frank's asking if you've seen the new Snow White. Nobody's seen the new Snow White. They just had the premiere, and they actually did not allow any interviewers on the carpet.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know.
That doesn't tell me anything about the movie.
No. But I'm saying
it tells me about
nothing about the movie. It's just
tells me how afraid they are.
Yeah, they're terrified.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Actually,
I'm going to see it Tuesday night.
Are you?
Yeah.
Of your own free will?
That's right.
Why?
Morbid curiosity.
Morbid curiosity. Where are you going to see it?
In Burbank.
At the studio?
No.
Just for fun? No, I'm saying, are you going to a screening of it?
Would you like me to hand out tickets?
I would, yeah. Are you going to a screening of it? I just want to understand why you're doing this to yourself.
Yes.
And is my mother going with you?
That's the plan.
Ooh. Hey, it's your funeral. Enjoy, man. But woof.
It may be.
I don't know. What did you just have in class? Because my brain's already.
Oh, I showed Novocaine.
That's what it was. There you go.
Which opened on 3,300 screens Friday. And I said, I didn't know there still were 3,300 screens.
Mm-hmm.
And Paramount seemed the least equipped to fill them, but they got this film. Stars Jack Quaid, who is Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan's son.
Dennis Quaid, he would like us all to forget he's Dennis Quaid's son.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
Meg Ryan.
And he's got it.
And Jack Nicholson's son.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson's son, Ray. Is one of the bad guys. Or the primary bad guy, I guess you call him.
Yeah.
And they're both really good. But Jack Quaid, who is not a discovery to people who've been watching
The Boys.
But I've never seen The Boys.
Yeah.
But I did see him in Companion, which we showed last month.
No, he's really good. He's really talented.
Yeah, he's got what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really do think the two directors who are my guests seem as a young Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I go with that.
Kind of every average guy.
Yeah, similar kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's always worked with him on The Boys is that he's the one who, this gives nothing away if you haven't watched The Boys. He doesn't have a power. He's sort of the regular Joe next to everybody with powers. And
the premise of Novocaine is pretty clever. It's about a guy, unassuming guy, assistant bank manager, keeps to himself, soft-spoken, but he has a rare genetic disease. He cannot feel pain. So he can't chew food.
Because he'll chew his tongue and the sides of his mouth. Yeah.
So he has to have a liquid diet. And but he finds himself in with the wrong people and robbers and such. And he's forced to use this gift or curse for violent reasons, for combatant reasons. And that's a pretty cool premise. And they do a pretty good job. It's very violent. There one scene I had to close my eyes briefly, a torture scene.
Oy.
It's only a movie.
Yeah.
But
you liked it.
I did like it.
And how did the kids react?
They liked it very much.
And who came? The two directors you saying came? Oh, that's right. We looked them up. They haven't done a ton yet, those directors.
They've done 2 other features.
Yeah.
they don't count their first two, which are like super low budget.
Sure.
But they've done 2 mainstream
Yeah.
movies. Don't ask me the names of them.
No, I
because
wouldn't do that.
My
That
brain
would be
is
terrible.
my brain is a sieve that will not retain things lately.
Yeah.
But they were good guests.
Yeah.
They're interesting guys,
I'm so glad.
and they're on their way.
Oh, Tommy says, thank you for your podcast. The highlight of my week, never disappoint. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. We worked really hard on them. We love them.
Yeah.
We love doing the show.
We've had several good guests in a row.
Yeah.
We had Patrick Wilson, who I always liked, the most versatile guy in show business.
What I said on the show is that there's a Patrick Wilson for everyone. If you're a musical theater nerd like me, you have a Patrick Wilson. My husband's favorite movie is The Watchmen. He has his Patrick Wilson. Everybody can have a Patrick Wilson. He's a gift to us all. And we had Danny Elfman recently, who was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Such an optimist. That's what I took away from it, I think, the most, was his optimism. He's really, he loves what he does. He's grateful to do what he does. And it just brings him an immense amount of pleasure and joy in his life. And that just made me really happy to hear and to see the way that he was. It was great.
This week we posted John Seda.
Yeah, who I love. If you don't know his name, he has done a lot of television, including some of the big. He did The Pacific, it's the Spielberg and Tom Hanks when they did several of those limited series. Now we call them limited series, where it's all about the wars. They've had several. He's just fantastic. He's a fantastic actor and a really interesting guy.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, and I wasn't overly familiar with him, though I recognize his face. Of course.
Yeah.
But he was a. You want to encounter people who are good talkers, who just naturally have a gift for conversation, not just answering your question yes, no, 1947, maybe.
Yeah.
But who will take your question and use it as a springboard for dialogue.
Yeah.
And we've been very lucky lately.
Yeah, it's nice. It's always nice.
We've been lucky, period.
Yeah.
But we've been especially lucky lately.
Yes. Frank's saying, I just thought of something. There really should be a playlist consisting of Danny Elfman and Mark Mothersbaugh film scores. Mark Mothersbaugh is also, when we got to interview him, he's just happy. He's having a great time. Yep. He loves his life. He loves what he does. He makes phenomenal instruments. That was the coolest thing. We got to interview him at his studio.
He builds and designs
that
instruments.
Was nuts. Homo erectus, I don't know what your real name is, but I appreciate everything that you're saying. Thank you for supporting gay and LGBTQ folks. I will tell you now, one of the coolest parts about my life, I will just say, is that my dad's very first publisher, who remained a part of your life until he passed.
That's right.
Was an incredible man named Patrick. And he and his husband were married, God knows how long.
Long time.
And so I'm someone who grew up with gay couples in my life that my parents just viewed as normal. I jokingly say we have one of everything. Whatever you want, we've got one of, at least, in our friend cavalry. And it means that my parents, without even meaning to, were extremely open and extremely accepting, which, again, has sort of formed the person that I am, that I have no issue with anyone, because why? I will also, you said earlier, why do people hate the Jews? My theory, it's because we're adorable. Just my own personal theory.
So it's jealousy.
It's mostly jealousy.
Yeah.
They think we're really cute. I'll tell you that it meant a lot to me. My daughter had her Hebrew baby naming. Our rabbi, who has been our rabbi my entire life, did my Hebrew baby naming when I was 3 weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
My Hebrew name is Bina. I'm named after my mom's dad, my grandpa Ben. He then did my bat mitzvah when I was 13, my rabbi and I. And then when I was 29 and a half, he married my husband and I here under the chuppah. And it was wonderful. We got married in the living room. And then when Daisy was probably a little over a month, he was here and he gave her baby naming. We did that all together. Her Hebrew name is Keshet, which means rainbow. So being Jewish is pretty important to us, and accepting people is pretty important to us. So you say you're gay and Jewish. I think that's fantastic. I think we'd be friends. So thank you for joining us today. On to toys.
Yeah, toys and
things that Leonard has brought to share.
Mickey Knacks. This is the oldest one. It's from the 20s.
Okay.
Which means it's 100 years old.
Right. Use this to date Fox Pictures. Jimmy Granger week, June 10th to June 16th. Compliments of Fox Film Corporation. It is a giant pencil.
But you would have to whittle to a sharp point.
Literally, you can see where someone attempted to whittle.
Yeah, because it wouldn't fit in any pencil sharpener known to mankind.
The same size as your head. There you go.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, several of you are making jokes about Snow White. Look, it could be good. I have no idea. It's more so to me the chaos that has ensued around it. Hi, Bub. We're almost done. Hi, sweetie pie. We're almost done. If you want to put something on, you can sit in my lap. Do you want to put on Daddy's shirt? No. You have a scary skull.
Here we have a Spanish language matchbook.
Hang on, go that way for a second, Bub.
With Claude Colbert and Maurice Chevalier pictured on this side.
No, Daisy, wait.
As they appeared in the film The Big Pond, 1930. And there's Pola Negri. There's pictures on all sides. Oh, it's from Havana. It's Cuban. And this is a compact case, a square compact case. The latch still works. And pictured is Laurence Olivier as Henry V in the movie of the same name. Odds and ends. I've been meaning to write an article about Walt Disney home movies, and someday I will. This is a... Whoa.
Okay. Keep going.
Walt Disney licensed some of his cartoon shorts for 8mm and 16mm home movie use.
Yeah. Hey, Daisy, who's that? Who's that on the box? Mickey Mouse. We love Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. What else have you got, Grandpa?
That's about it.
Tampa, what you got?
How about I have?
What do you have?
Oh, what is this?
That sign. Can you show them what you're playing with? Are you playing with a little 3D printed cat? Is that a cat noise? Go meow. Hi. They're saying hi,
pencil.
Daisy. Our friends there are saying hi, Daisy. Can you say hi? Hi. We are having a wild day, aren't we, Days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Daisy watches Bluey.
Bluey all day. We
All
are
day,
a
all
Bluey
day.
household. Oh, don't kick
We've
that.
purchased at least our fair share, if not more than our
7,000. I
of
love
Bluey
all of
merchandise.
it. I love all of the Bluey merchandise. I love it so much. It is my favorite. Is Bluey our favorite? Yeah, we like Bluey. Muffin. If you are a Bluey watcher, Muffin is my favorite. Muffin is the way. You found coins. Look at you. You found coins. Whoa, careful. Careful. What else do you have in your pockets?
Another toy.
Another toy? What else? What have you got? Have you shown all your cool things?
Yeah.
Okay.
For today. More to come.
Well, always more to come. That's a good. You just found coins, Days.
Oh, did you find an anime won quarter by any chance?
Did you lose an anime one quarter? Careful. Whoa. Hold on, wrong. Try not to touch this, okay, Bubba?
Hi, Mom.
You can say hi. They can see you. See? You can say hi. You can say hi. Beth says, "Hi, sweet Daisy. You are so pretty." She knows, unfortunately. She is pretty darn cute and she's aware of it. Yeah. You're very funny. Do you know what's crazy, guys? Is that we started doing this. We started doing this show during COVID because of COVID. We were all here together, and a little bit into it. Hang on, Bub. Hey, can you put them right here? Because if we put them here, we change stuff. Okay. We started doing this during COVID. I did not have a baby person. And then a little bit into it, because I got pregnant with Daisy in 2021. So we were doing this with you guys for almost a year. And then here we are now. Daisy's 3 years old, nearing 3.5, which seems insane. So we've all done this together, which is just kind of crazy to think about how the time has gone, you know? Yeah.
And watching a human being develop
It's nuts.
from a standing start is
You can go back to Hannah.
truly
Okay.
awesome. Not awesome like Valley speak awesome,
Yeah.
but like
It's
awesome.
nuts. It's wild.
Every week, new words,
Yeah.
new level of understanding.
Yeah.
But she still wouldn't sit there and watch Shirley Temple the other day.
No.
I thought I would really get her with Shirley
But
Temple.
she won't watch
and Buddy
anything.
Ebsen. No,
That's
she
the thing.
won't.
Even
She
if I
won't.
put it on, it's just not there yet, man. It's just not there yet. Victoria says, "So blessed to be with you." That's how we feel, honestly. I just can't get over it. When our friends were saying yesterday, it's 5 years since COVID. I went, Jesus, it's a long time. It really is. Yeah, Nick, we had our old dogs. Our dogs.
Who lived long lives.
Our dogs, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, one of my dogs died. And then about a month later, our other dog died. So I teased the doctors I was working with. I had IVF to have Daisy. And I said, "You never told me that I would have to give my fur babies in order to get a human baby. But here we are." Yeah, it is. Boyhood is very much that. Yeah, I understand why that would be so interesting, and only somebody like him would do that. Only somebody like Rick would come up. Rick Linklater would come up with something like Boyhood. But it is fascinating, right? We're constantly seeing them change, and what they like and what they don't like. And again, because I'm with her and a lot of her friends, I'm with 3 and 4 year olds all day. And you're just watching them exist and figure things out and what they like and what they don't like and their personalities. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy.
Well, that's what inspired our gang.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Older kids
exactly.
than Daisy.
Yeah.
But still just the idea of these kids trying to have a stickball game.
Yeah.
And, getting
what happens
some
with
rough
them?
And tumble and all that.
Yeah.
And Hal Roach said to himself,
"This is entertainment."
Yeah. See, I've been sitting here, for 40 minutes watching these kids nonstop. Maybe there's a movie or a series of movies in this.
And there was.
And he was right.
Yeah. Craig, we already have the whole list for the movies. They had to they chose some, we chose some. If it was just movies that we love, that would be a whole other thing. He's mentioning Best in Show and State and Maine, which are 2 of my favorite movies ever. This wanted to go a bit different, I would say. This is more sort of like E.T. and National Velvet. So sort of more along those lines. I would love to I'll do as many books as the world will let me do about all the movies that we love. And I still hope that one day we'll be able to bring back Maltin Fest, which you never know. It could happen. Yeah.
I like to proselytize.
Yeah.
When there's a film, a good movie is an event.
Mm-hmm.
And today more than ever, I think they had a higher batting average in the earlier decades.
Yeah.
But A good movie shouldn't go unseen,
Yeah.
shouldn't go neglected,
Yeah.
and so that's why I feel I'm performing some form of public service,
Mm-hmm.
not to try to give myself laurels for doing that, but it's satisfying.
Yeah.
It's rewarding when somebody comes back and says, "Hey, I watched that. That was really good."
Well, we talked about that's what was so much fun about Maltin Fest is we got to say, "Hey, we love this," and then send you into a theater to watch it, and then have you come out and say, "Yeah, that was great." So, yeah. Look, I would love to bring Maltin Fest to New York. I would love to bring Maltin Fest absolutely everywhere and just sit and watch movies because there's something so special. There really is. Especially, my dad always uses this term, a simpatico audience. Sitting in a movie theater, look, the TCM Film Festival is coming up next month. And one of the greatest joys of it is sitting in a theater with everybody who is excited to be there and excited to watch.
Yeah.
And to have that it really is priceless. Because, yeah, Days. There's just sounds. Baby, did you hurt yourself? It's very, very special to get to watch things together. Hi, what's wrong? What's wrong? What happened? Oh, did we get an indent on our legs again? Okay. There's a thing you might not think about is, when you push your skin up against something and you get an indentation. Daisy had that happen yesterday, and it terrified her on her knees.
She was on a wicker.
She was on a wicker step stool and got little marks on her knees and spent the entire day going, "What is going on?" So, but they go away, right? Everything goes away.
I don't like it.
I know you don't like it, but it goes away. Have Leonard or Jesse ever seen the movie Luna? I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell, but
I don't know.
I don't know. We are going to go. I'm going to get this small human fed. But as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are out of town next weekend, but we'll be back after that. So we will not see you next week, but the following week.
You notice we didn't have to say a word about Oscars today. It's over.
Yeah, right.
It's over. We can move on.
That's right. Ay. Okay. Thank you all, friends. We'll see you very soon. What's up?